Why is this auto fix?
I love how you snap at it like it's gonna change something. Like, hey,
Bro,
hey, you.
this is AI at its finest.
The amount of
There it
times
goes.
I've said that before is insane.
Welcome.
Nobody.
We got it to work.
Sick autofocus. Sick autofocus, bro.
Yeah, honestly. All right. Well, episode 2. We're back.
Yeah.
As you guys can all see, you got a little new face up here with Tyler and I.
Yeah.
Welcome to Stray Comms episode 2. As we kicked off earlier, we're staying hydrated, so I got a bottle with me. Um, Agenda for today. Just wanted to talk a bit through the reason for the podcast. Didn't get to touch on it too much last episode. We were talking more through what me, Tyler, and Vinny have been working on, the basis for the esports organization, and everything we've been doing there. And so we wanted to really inform you guys as to what we're trying to accomplish with the podcast. Uh, for those of you who don't know, this community is very, very keen on talking about mental health and addressing that amongst us as friends and holding each other accountable, checking in on each other on a day to day. And with the podcast, I wanted to provide a platform for where people like Cylus, people like Ty, people like myself, we can come in, share our stories a bit, share what it is that we do on a day to day basis in pushing ourselves to be better and to get out of our sad boy phase. We've all had our moments, and I'm not saying anybody's perfect. I'm not saying that we do things perfectly, but we definitely aim to push people and push people in our community. And so yeah, brought Cylus in
Fuck.
today. Um,
The legend
Tyler,
himself,
you
bro.
guys know, big nibs, the gaffer,
Yeah.
the man himself. But yeah, Cylus, why don't you go on and introduce yourself, and we'll get started after I fix my autofocus again. Go ahead and introduce
That
yourself, Jay.
that intro was good. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, like Keenan said, I'm Cylus. I mean, what else about me? It's pretty hard sometimes to kind of go through a little intro with me, fun facts and all that. I'm really bad at icebreakers, but I'm 24, currently in Los Angeles, working out here. Known these two for a minute now. Met Tyler through Keenan, but we shared common values with how we treat our friends, how we treat our family, and just overall just getting after it. That's what brought me to these guys. That's what's keeps me with these guys. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here, man. Happy to be part of the podcast and happy to learn about esports and everything like that. So
Appreciate you,
I'm hyped.
G. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
you've been putting up with me and all my gaming, and even what you came up here 3, 4 months ago. No, it's been longer. It's been like 5 months now, right? Because it was in July.
Yeah, I came mid-July, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And that was when we
Yeah.
had our first tournament for our Call of Duty team.
Oh yeah.
And you sat
Yeah.
there with me while I codcasted, and we watched the boys get second place in our first tournament, which was
Yes,
crazy.
Sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Cause I mean,
it
for
was
me,
cool.
so backstory: Silas and I met on the soccer field. I just got done playing at Azusa Pacific. I was trying to figure out where I was going to play at the next level. Silas, you were in between seasons at Sac State, I believe, at the
Yeah,
time, right?
sophomore going to junior year.
Correct? Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I get the ball on the left side of the field, and I see this dude running, and I'm always impressed when somebody's got pedals, right? This guy's just gassed up the right side of the pitch. I was just like, fine, I'll send him. Left foot, just ping him into space. He lays it across the goal. Assist from him. And I was just like, all right, we've got a baller on our hands. And so, talked to Silas after. We immediately clicked. And from there, we just kind of kept in touch. It was a pretty short season. But then you and I just kept each other's numbers. And from there, I want to say we got back in touch about a year later. It was going
Yeah.
into your like last season at Sac State, and I was back in town. I just finished playing out in Where was I? Forget where I was.
You're in NOLA.
Was I in NOLA? Yeah.
I think
Yeah, it
so.
would have
I
been.
think you came back, and
Yeah,
you came back right when we were starting preseason captains practice. So
yeah,
you trained with
because
us for my senior year too.
you were in NC, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just got back from SC.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Um, so I hit him up and I was just like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I was sitting down at work. He was just like, "Nothing was good." And Drake's album had just come out, Scorpion, and I was just like, let's get a session in at the gym. He was just like, all right, bet. I go pick him up. We're as skinny as if we've ever been. Both of us had not lifted weights, and I was just like, we're just gonna do it. And that was the first day, and then we went in the next day, and the next day after that. And next thing you know, we were in the gym every single day, and it just became a part of our daily routine. At the time, I was going through a very rough time. Tyler was also there or Tyler, you were in Romania still at the time.
Yep.
And so, like, Tyler and I were talking back and forth, but I didn't really have anybody in person. And Silas kind of came into picture there. And we were both just, like, battling through things on our own. We didn't talk about it too much, but we were in the gym and we were putting in the work there. And we didn't know how much it would end up meaning to us, but
Yeah.
it definitely became something that was pivotal in our lives. Um, so we'll kind of kick it off with this. Just want to ask you guys about your fitness journeys. Ty, if you want to share a bit about your experience with playing at a collegiate level and playing at a high school level, and then Silas, I'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah. Played actually played a lot of American football. I had to specify that for the rest of y'all.
No hate here.
It's American football. There's real football. Played that as well. Played in late high school and college a bit. It was good times. I mean, ever since I can remember, I was always playing sports, always working out. Literally going from one season to the next. You know, it was football season, then basketball season, then track, then so on and so forth. And I'll tell you what, sincerely, at least for me, I saw huge differences in my mental when I'm not physically healthy. You know, like when I'm not physically like getting myself in shape and doing something for myself. I mean, I could be having a horrible mental day, you know, and uh, getting in there and I mean, you guys know how it is getting on the pitch, taking off a little bit of that edge and really putting in some work at the end. You feel uh, no words can really describe it. You
Night
know,
and day.
it's sincerely therapeutic. You know,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's sincerely
absolutely.
something else. You know.
Sai?
Yeah, and just kind of building off what Tyler said, just having that outlet, whether it's sport, whether it's fitness, just something to kind of take your mind off of the stuff that's kind of been on your mind a lot, or kind of you've been feeling a lot. Anything that's making you stressed, a bit uneasy. It's always been something that's been there to kind of, like I put it, like how I put it is like it just tires me out to where I don't necessarily have to really think anymore. My body's just kind of drained.
Hmm.
Um, and as funny as that sounded, like that's the way I went about it. Whether it's soccer or weightlifting, it's been something that has been consistent with me since I started playing soccer at 12, which is late for most people, but it was right on time for me. And that was kind of it through high school and then college, played collegiately. And then once soccer was over, I had fitness, and like Keenan mentioned earlier, we both got thrown into that after soccer was done for both of us. Didn't know where it was going to take us. We just knew, hey, I like throwing weight around. I kind of want to get bigger. He said the same thing. It led to...
I need that.
Yo, for those of you watching, if you guys don't know, these two are absolute units.
Oh
These
boy,
two are
we're not getting
ridiculous.
started.
Absolute units.
Yeah,
Man.
And just build up what Tyler said, it wasn't always that way. I came in my senior year at Sac State. I was 173, and at 6'2", by no means is that big, in any sport really. But yeah, just got in the gym with Keen. It was a good way to kind of have that bond with somebody that's kind of you can work through whatever it is. And like you say, we didn't mention much of what we were going through at the time, but it was just sharing that space with each other and kind of building off of each other's energy, just getting after something. We didn't know what it was going to be, but hey, let's just get bigger.
Yeah, no
Heard,
doubt.
working out does that.
Yeah.
And into a habit, and I love it. Still do it every day, and I don't think that'll change.
So you mentioned that you're still doing it every day. I'm curious because you went from, yeah, I just kind of do it until it tires me out and I'm not thinking about what I may be going through. So how does that translate now? Because I know for me personally, my reason for fitness has drastically changed, right? For me, it was like I've got way too much on my plate, right? I'm emotionally just like overwhelmed. I'm sad, I'm mad. There goes my autofocus again. And
Love it.
I just needed to be in a spot where I was just pushing myself to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So how does that look for you now? Because I know for a fact that you're not just doing it to kill yourself every day. You're like actually pushing through this.
Yeah. So there's ebbs and flows for sure. And as we kind of go through, I see you trying to get the focus better.
It'll happen.
As, as opportunities come across, opportunities arise in our lives, or directions change, my fitness journey has kind of been something that evolves with that. So, in the beginning with Keen, it was, hey, let's get tired. Let's share this time together, working out, kind of getting to know each other, talk about, what we're going through. And then he made his move to Portland. And so that left me, still grinding through it. But at the time, we were lifting, we had that foundation of kind of getting in the groove. And it became very regular. We were still in contact all the time with lifting. And so by the time I've just, it's no longer tiring me out anymore. It's just something that, I kind of got used to doing. And I'm, building off of what Keenan's doing. So now instead of just tiring me out, we're working towards something of, after educating ourselves with, terminology, how to get bigger, we're shooting for goals now. And that kind of worked its way for the next year and a half, I'd say. I just wanted to get big.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thing. I feel like I had the structure for it. I just wanted to get big. I got up to 226 was my heaviest.
Yeah, you was massive in it.
Yeah,
You were
so from
huge.
starting at 173, I got up to 226. Was that a 53-pound jump in 2 years?
Yeah, that's a
Which is
big bulk, man. That's a lot of muscle.
Facts.
Yeah, so that was my goal for that chunk of after finding out fitness was it. It shifted to just getting big, and I was eating whenever I wanted. I was eating 5 times a day, 6 times a day, even when I wasn't hungry. That's kind of the name of the game. As working at a gym, people always said, "Well, are you eating enough?" And when someone says, "Yeah," 9 times out of 10 they don't mean that, or they have no idea because no, you're not.
Yeah.
If you can say yeah, then you're not.
You
You're eating enough when
you most definitely were. I could say that much.
There's a point when you have no more space and you still got to put it down.
Oh yeah.
But so that was kind of where my direction of fitness kind of went. And then I kind of ventured more into just like the entertainment industry and kind of like modeling a bit. And then I realized that I was probably way too big to do what I'm doing now. So from 226, I just managed to, through quarantine and kind of when I made my move out here, I'm down to like 194 now.
Okay,
still have
so
some
significant
size,
cut.
but
Yeah.
yeah, just having to, keep a certain body composition for the work I'm doing. And it's a lot more detailed now with what I eat. And in the gym, I'm not killing myself anymore, and I can't because I'm not eating as much. So it's very calculated and not as stressful.
Yeah, most definitely.
But at the end of the day, your boy likes to eat, so it's kind of tough. But.
Yeah, you're just like, do I want the food or do I want the modeling gig? How are you enjoying that, by the way? I know, knowing you as an individual, for comfort's sake, that was a big jump in terms of we used to shoot all the time. We did a bunch of shots for City Bell, and everything was fitness focused. But how are you enjoying that work?
It's different.
Yeah.
And it's just not. It's not something that it's not really that easy. People think the idea of yo, if you look good, just stand in front of the camera. It kind of works.
For sure.
That's not. It's tough. There's a lot of like little things here and there that are very nitpicky about kind of like how things go well or they don't go well. And me, I do come off kind of as confident. When we're in social settings, I don't have an issue, but it's the kind of the focus being shifted all on one person and having like a whole set behind you, and there's multiple eyes just staring at you, making sure that you're doing it a certain way. It's
Yeah.
a little. I'm adjusting.
Yeah,
new,
for
so
sure. Well,
it's going.
I'm happy that you have that opportunity there. It's cool for you.
Facts.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
tight.
That's sick, bro. We'll kind of shift gears a bit. Want to talk about the incorporation of not just fitness, um, but maybe give examples from both of you of what are things that you're doing like fitness, where that idea of consistency in your day to day. What is it that you're doing on a day to day that is really helping one hold you accountable in pushing forward, right? Constant progress is always important. But two, like holding you in check with your mental on a day to day, because I think that a lot of people they get extremely busy and they get so focused on that they kind of ignore their mental. So doesn't have to be insanely vulnerable, but I'm curious as to like what you guys do on a day to day when you don't have your friends around, is how you're holding yourself accountable to one, make sure you're being productive, and two, to make sure that like you're healthy, whether it be with what you're eating, what you're achieving, any work that you're putting in.
Yeah. I got you. For me, honestly, I used to think it sounded super silly, but self affirmations, like simple things like standing in front of a mirror and reminding yourself, like, hey, you are worthy, you can do this, you are loved. I mean, Keenan, you out of all people know sometimes it's hard without those homies because I've had Keenan rip into me numerous times, where I'm
I've had
struggling and
y'all
whatnot.
rip into me numerous
Yeah,
times.
facts. But those self affirmations are huge, honestly. And I know things suck in the moment sometimes. But sometimes you have to get in a at least for me, it helps when I'm thinking long term. Like I'll sit there and be like, man, like this really sucks. But I mean, I've gotten this far. I've made it this far. I mean, it's one of those things where you really got to look and be like, hey, this sucks now, but I want to make some changes today that are going to really like change the way my future looks. Because I mean, I've had times, and I mean, we've all done it, where you sit there and you're really just bumming. You're like, man, this sucks, and then you get in this like toxic spiral. Where you start eating a little more, you start doing this a little more, that. And it gets you in this like constant whirlwind. At least for me. And so those self affirmations have been huge, as well as trying to think long term and think a little more um, logistically. Of like, okay, I got these goals. I want to like, let's take fitness for example. I want to lose weight. I want to get in shape. Okay, well, that's cool that I want to do that. How am I going to do it? Um, and then it's simply trying to find adjustments. At least that's the way it's been going for me. It's a lot easier said than done, but definitely helps out for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Sai,
and
thoughts, hit me.
well, I just want to piggyback off of what he said about long term and longevity because I know we're all young, but at the same time, like these years have been flying by a lot quicker than I remember them to.
Fact,
Yeah,
facts,
So
bro.
yeah,
uh, the fitness thing, and this is what I harp on about, like to anybody that wants to start it, whether it's family or friends, like the ones who just like, oh, I just want to kind of lose weight for a wedding, or like, hey, I just want to look good for this event I'm going to in the summer, or X, Y, and Z. It's like I've always had an issue with that because the fact that once that's over, then what?
Mhm.
Because what we've learned, all three of us on this cast is like, this is going to be something that needs to be a staple in day to day for the longevity of my health kind of thing.
hmm
It's not something that you just pick up and put down whenever you want to do.
yeah,
For mental stability, emotional stability, physical stability, like it kind of hits on all three of those. Um, and so like having that, deeper why than just like a festival in the summer, or like an occasion, um, it really kind of helps with the longevity of everything and kind of taking it serious and like adopting it as a staple to your day to day, and just repetitions. It's just like anything. It's like gaming, it's like soccer, whatever. You get better by practicing.
Yep.
And if you just get the reps in of going, to the gym, those days when you want to, the days that you don't want to at all, and the days where you're kind of just like, like it helps just, get yourself to do that because you're going to build a habit with going. So at one point, you're going to be looking down the road and be like, oh, I don't need to think about it. Like, that's just what I do now. I need to keep myself healthy. I need to keep myself like in check, and that sense of structure of, I build my day around my health, my work to pay my bills, and anything outside of that's a plus. Because I feel like it should be taken just as serious as, how you kind of gain your income or how you keep a roof over your head. I feel like you got to take care of the person living inside that house as well.
I like that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts, for sure.
And so with those self affirmations that Tyler's saying, that's huge. And I am hard on myself. I feel like I'm the guy that functions strictly off of self-hate speech. I don't know why. I'm the guy on the soccer team that was fueled by the coach ripping into him.
Yeah.
I never like the, hey, we're doing our best kind of thing.
Absolutely
I always
not.
Give it to me dry. Give it to me how it is. Like, I don't want you to sugarcoat nothing, so I can take that. Don't do it like that again. Mm-hmm. And it's a point of reference I can build off of from.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't need stuff to be, coddled to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it how it is.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, I know the topic's been brought up here and there, especially in recent years, but I think this idea of autofocus.
This idea of autofocus.
I think this idea of mental health as it pertains to males is not necessarily dismissed, but I think that sometimes it's very pushed to the side because it's supposed to be this quote unquote like strong, whatever happens, like get through it, work through it kind of thing. I do agree to that to some extent, but also like everybody functions differently. And
Facts.
I mean, I've had conversations with you guys where I could even think 2 years ago, I'd called both of you in the same day. Tyler hits me with, yo, at some point it's got to stop. And I know you both know what I'm talking about. Because Cylus, immediately after, I call him. Cylus says, yo, dude, look, Keen, I got to be real with you. If I hear this one more time, I'm just going to hang up. Like I can't hear this from you anymore. And it's not that my friends didn't want to hear it from me. It's just at some point as an individual, you have to stop doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that a lot of problems that come with mental health are you get stuck into this routine of, like Tyler mentioned, not doing what you should be, right? This looks good, I'm going to eat that. I don't feel so great after, but it tasted good. Or this looks appealing, I go do that. It makes me feel terrible after. And it's like all these little things that appeal to you in the moment. But then as Cylus mentioned, where's the longevity in that, right? You may look good for the wedding or for like this little honeymoon phase, whatever. You may enjoy the food that you're eating or the habits you're indulging in. And then all of a sudden you look 6 months down the road and you're not happy, right? You don't enjoy your physique. You don't enjoy how sluggish you are and the bad habits you've picked up. And so that I think that a lot of that comes from, yo, as friends, you need to hold yourself accountable in saying, no, like you're in the wrong, right? Like you're not my friends because you're happy with me. You're my friends because you're willing to say, no, I don't agree with that. And I think that those little things, if you start slowly pulling them out of your life, those little negatives, then all of a sudden your day starts to look a whole lot better, right? Lifting isn't something that is always enjoyable. Or putting in time at practice. In the case of Tyler for Call of Duty, y'all have some problems sometimes, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
But you look at where we were 6 months ago, even when we were trying to get second place in our first tournament. You look at where Cylus, you and I were 2 years ago when we were just getting into fitness. You're like, oh wow, like taking away those negatives here and there really started to make a positive impact, right? Um, yeah, that instance was
Oh,
hilarious to me. I think that
I feel
Well,
like what you touched on is like it's one thing, you know, asking for help, with whatever, and that's always tough, especially as guys, being the one to ask for help because no one wants to be like the kid, oh, you don't understand it, or
yeah.
but you're weak. That's a very common stigma around, looking for support as a guy or as a man. But it's also another thing being willing to accept the help and like wanting to change that of
Mhm.
what you're asking. So it's one thing to play the part and be like, what do you think I should do? But in the back of your mind and in your heart, you don't want to change. That's never going to happen.
Mhm.
facts.
It's just getting to the point with, you self-reflect and you figure out that I'm ready to change for me. And I have the support system of my closest friends.
Mhm.
They can guide me. But at the end of the day, I need to be willing to change for myself because that's who you have at the end of the day.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
For
Facts.
sure.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off that, it kind of goes back to that affirmation and self love, because at the end of the day, you guys aren't as in shape as you are because somebody worked out for you. You know what I mean? You guys chose to get in the gym. You chose to wake up. I guarantee you, all these professional athletes and so on and so forth. There's days I'm sure Kobe himself didn't even want to go to work out. You know what I'm saying? But that's what really sets people apart is like going out and getting those like long term goals. It's
Remembering that
it,
why.
yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly,
sure.
exactly.
For
It's
sure.
nobody's gonna make things happen but you, and it's even surrounding yourself with great people, you got to really push yourself for those things.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to bridge off that a little bit just as it ties in with what we're doing in Stray 10, the community aspect, because I know it's not easy. I was blessed enough to run into you guys, right? Ran into Sai on the soccer field, physically ran into Tyler on the soccer field when he dropped me my sophomore year. Literally, my first
bro.
scrimmage sophomore year, I'm
Uh,
driving down the pitch, and then this load just comes in, brick wall, puts me on the ground, and he just looks down at me, steps over me, Allen Iverson, and I'm just like,
oh, bro.
Like, what
Oh,
was that?
all right.
man.
Eh,
Dude.
but how do you guys respond with like the community aspect? I know you guys are both very strong individuals, but how much does community tie into your day to day as well?
You can go first, huh?
Okay. Um, I mean, it's big. It's as much as we want to do things ourselves. Like there's a phrase that um, I've always kind of looked at and kind of remembered when let's say I'm doing well with something or I go through something that's a little bit more misfortunate. Is the whole each one teach one. So like when you figure something out, things are going good. If you see someone else who's struggling with something, you've been through it. Pick somebody up on your way up as well. Whether it's your close friends or just somebody that you just want to lend a helping hand to. It's like that's the least that we can do, as people. And if they're, like I said earlier, if they're willing to help of a community
Yeah,
to just work together and just have that that vibe it's huge.
yeah,
Facts.
I like that. Yep, I I feel like the topic is just kind of brushed over in terms of community, right? Like having good friends is so important, but I feel like it's so like non-existent, especially with how focused everybody is on social media, right? Did I get the likes? Did I post today? And the day-to-day consumption of what you're looking at in your hand, especially we're in the middle of a pandemic. so many people haven't
Right.
even left their house. Who knows how many people physical fitness applies to right now that should probably be outside running, that should probably be outside doing like push-ups, sit-ups, whatever it is. Um, and I feel like it's just so pushed to the side. And for me, I've been extremely busy lately, and I have Ty, right? I talk to you almost every single day. Silas, same with you. We're constantly checking in. I feel like it's so important because we're able to sit down in this setting and reflect on how far we've come with our individual goals, whether it be in the gym, whether it be pushing forward with business as we are now, whether it be just like little mental health things that we want to keep in check there. Um, but yeah, I think this is so important. I'm very grateful for both of you guys uh, and for stepping in on the podcast.
Yeah, that's big time, bro.
It's been so fun. Do you guys have
Plus,
closing statements, things that you want to talk through? Other things that come to mind on the basis of one, staying consistent, or any motivation that you can give to other people that you've learned from in and of yourself, whether it be mistakes or things that you've done right.
I would just encourage
uh,
people with the community in general. Really find a solid group of people. I mean, I feel like everybody's knows somebody, right? And I feel like um, it's not easy, but finding those people that you can really lean on in those times, you got to get a little vulnerable. It's not easy, but I mean, at this point, I like I told you, Keenan's kicked me into shape a million times, and Keenan's one of those people I literally could trust with my life. I remember the first time hearing about Cylus. Cylus already got the vouch before I even met him, bro. So I was like, this dude's already a legend, man. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just one of those cool things where when you can really find those people that you can really trust and grow with, I feel like it naturally kind of grows over time. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Um, I got homies in the stray community I've never met in person, but they're homies for life. Like I literally call these guys on the phone, check up on each other, like sharing some deep stuff going on in our life, catching up on FaceTime, all that stuff. Like it sincerely is a beautiful thing, but you can't really have that community without putting yourself in that vulnerable spot. And I'm not saying tell everybody all your problems or this or that, but you really got to find those people that you can slowly start trusting and really like start pushing yourself to open up a little bit. Because I mean, trust me, everybody's going through something. You can't look at Silas and be like, oh, he's going through this, or Keenan, oh, he's going through that. Um, Everybody's going through something. You don't know everybody's story, but it really does make a huge difference. I mean, some of my lowest points, the my homies have literally pulled me out of some of my darkest days. And like I said, it's just one of those things where everyone's like, "Oh, I got me. Don't worry about this. I got me. I'm gonna do me, bro. Like I got this." And
yup,
society makes it where like, hey, you're not supposed to have feelings. You're supposed to tough it out. Like forget this. Like
yeah,
focus on this. Blah blah blah. And it's one of those things where you really want to succeed. Get a good group of people around you.
yeah.
Um, and put yourself in those vulnerable spots. It's not easy by any means, but I mean, I'm still learning with my community growing, but I mean, it's been paying off tremendously.
Hmm. Yeah, you've
yeah, and
called me.
just literally stemming off of that. What'd you say, Keen?
No, I was gonna say Tyler's called me several times on the not being vulnerable part. He's just like, bro, what's up? And I was just like, I'm good. He was just like, you're a liar. What's going on? I'm just like, uh,
Yeah,
I don't know if I have time to talk about this right now.
yeah,
But yeah, having friends like you where it's just like, talk, boy. Like you need to. Like it's very normal to have a conversation. I feel like we push past that a lot. But yeah, so
facts.
what was you gonna say?
I was just gonna stem off of what Tyler said of with the stigma of nah, I got me, self-made, like I don't need nobody. It's like
Self-made millionaire.
it, it's so ironic because the fact that it's literally impossible, to be self-made in this world. Somebody brought you into the world, as parents.
Facts.
Shout out
You know,
mom
you
and
can't
dad.
take care of yeah, you can't take care of yourself until you're 18. I mean,
Yeah,
I
facts.
mean, younger people for sure, but like,
I don't know about
we're not
18. I'm
we're not
26. I still can't. I still can't.
You get what I'm saying? Like legally, obviously, there's cases where people have to grow up a lot quicker.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, so there was always somebody to kind of, like Tyler said, whip you into shape, whether we're kids, whether we're going through it when we're a little bit older, having that support system, just embracing, having those people around you. And I'm not saying opening up to anybody, like Tyler said. He knows that we don't need to open up to everybody, but it's just being comfortable with yourself of, embracing what you're going through. And there's people going through stuff all the time, and you can't tell by just looking at somebody.
Yeah, 100%.
And just embracing that adversity, and you using that as your why to kind of keep going is huge. And I think we do that every day. Find our why. Find that purpose of ours of what gets us to the gym, what gets us to be consistent with whatever we're doing, because consistency rules king over anything, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Find that why, just keep going. You don't know. It's never. There's no such thing as an overnight success. You know that quote.
Yeah.
It took me years
Facts.
to do overnight success.
Facts.
Just keep going. There's light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I would even bridge, like, I mean, for me, my why personally is for y'all and for my family. Like, my friends and family are the only reason I do anything. And alongside that, my why in the gym, a lot of the times was knowing in the back of my mind, Tyler's watching me, Cylus is watching me, Jake, my roommate, is watching me, my brother is watching me. Like, I have people that care about me that are watching me, and that's not necessarily like how I'm doing in the gym, whether or not I'm putting up numbers or making progress, but it's like, am I doing what I said I was gonna do, and am I staying true to that? Like, I I'll touch on this again. You guys called me out in a time where I wasn't following up on what I said I was going to. Uh,
Oh, man.
and it's like this competition, this really healthy competition of knowing that my friends are watching and knowing that my friends are doing something. I know Ty's in the gym. I know Ty's putting in work in the barber shop. He's building his own brand. He's going in every single day, and regardless of whether or not things are going well that day, I know in the back of my mind that whether or not I talk to you guys are doing something, and that might be reciprocated. And so the community aspect, again, yes, vulnerability is huge and being honest is huge, but understanding that other people are going to keep going. And I want my friends to be there, so in order for me to hold my friends accountable, I need to be doing the same, right? It's this multi-functioning thing of, hey, if I want Stray to succeed and I want to speak on mental health and holding people accountable, building a community, I also need to be reaching out. I also need to be making sure that I'm taking care of myself in order to be able to reach out.
Facts.
And I feel like that is such a important part where we can just say, yeah, like community is the basis for all of this. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, all right, are you putting the work in? Are you holding yourself accountable? Because if not, I mean, I got boys that'll hold me accountable for sure. And uh, it's like it's important. Like it's just very pivotal in your day to day. So
Definitely.
it was a good day.
It was a great day.
I
It
miss
was
you
a great day.
guys. I haven't seen y'all in forever.
I know, bro. Man, I gotta get up to Oregon sometime. I mean, I know we already talked about it, but I'm really trying to head up that way.
Yeah,
for
you
a
got to
little
get
bit.
up here. Silas came up here. Now I got to go down there. It was one thing where I would just fly to Sacramento and see both of you, and then now I got Sacramento and I got to drop all the way back down to LA.
Mhm. And if you get close to LA, you already know Mercy's gonna be knocking.
Oh yeah, Mercy's gonna drive straight up there. He's gonna be like, "Y'all didn't want to come down to San Diego, or what's going on?" Are beaches open right now?
Yeah, beaches are.
Beaches are open. Nothing else.
It depends on what county you want to go to.
I want to
We got
go
counties that
to a
believe
beach.
We got
He
counties
said,
that
"I don't
believe
care.
in
I just
COVID.
want
We
to
got
beach."
counties that don't believe in COVID.
We can
Yeah,
cook at
absolutely.
home. I don't really care about eating out. Say again?
Yeah, I mean, there's a beach for everybody. So we gonna find it.
We gonna
We're
find
gonna
it.
find it. We're gonna find it.
Well, I appreciate you boys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ty taking time out of your night. Cy, I know you just got off work and you were just like, all right, let's get this.
Yeah,
Um,
sincerely appreciate you,
very,
Si, for real.
very happy.
Hey,
Uh,
the pleasure is mine. Life doesn't slow down. You got to
Yep.
keep up with it.
Yep.
Facts.
Cy, I hope that we can have another conversation on here soon. Maybe we can talk a bit more about City Bell and things moving forward there with training and building the training community into what we're doing here in Straight 10 Esports, because regardless of people not thinking it's physically active, this is a physically active environment, right? You got to be ready mentally. You got to make sure you're taking care of yourself outside of playing a video game or outside of sitting at your computer doing work.
Especially while in quarantine, you know?
Quarantine.
Yeah,
I can
facts.
tell you right now, I've been more drained from hours of 1v1 at Rust and MW2 than any soccer game I've ever played.
Oh my
Facts, bro.
goodness.
Facts. I guarantee you I sweat more at Rust too, bro. I sweat more at Rust than I ever have in a footy game either.
You said sweatband on. We're ready.
So that's where respect was gained in high school. That Rust map,
Facts.
MW2.
It didn't matter if you were like section title, MVP, whatever. If you couldn't body somebody on Rust in 1v1,
You're relevant.
you're out. You're gone.
Facts. Facts.
Cold
Classic,
sweat.
Classic.
Yeah,
Classic.
appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, we'll wrap up episode 2. Thank you guys for tuning in. Silas, thank you again. Ty, I know you got to run off to practice.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get you moving there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We will be getting this one posted very soon, and then episode 3 coming in after this. But yeah, thank you guys. Make sure you follow us Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Super important for us. Really helps us grow as a community. And there goes my autofocus again. So I guess this is over. Later, y'all.
Swipe up, notifications on.
Yup.
Just get it. Just run the numbers.
You already
Run
know.
the numbers
Run it
up.
Run it up. And stay
GGs.
hydrated. Stay hydrated for surely.